Hello and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Rose of There Goes Rose, the channel name. I make bookish videos, some travel videos. I've recently done a solo camp and it's just kind of vlogs, mainly book talk. That's what happens here. So if you're into any of that, do please subscribe. It will really help the channel. And I'm quite new to these videos, so I'm still getting used to it. So today I am here to do my September wrap up. I did really well in the month of September and read 6 books, which I am so happy with. So normally I'll read around 4 books, so yeah, super happy that I managed to read 6. Also, if you've been watching my videos, I've been playing around with where I want to sit and film and backdrops and things. Today I sorted my office out. It's been a bit of a mess for a while. So you normally have this chair in the background because I sit on the floor because I don't have a large tripod, so I sit on the floor so I can be at eye level. But I've sorted out this corner of my office, which has recently been a bit of a mess. So I've got my records are in the background and I had a nice listen to them as I was kind of cleaning skirting boards and windows and all sorts. And I'm really happy with this plant. I just needed to give it a little mention. I bought this plant for like £2 from B&M because it was gonna die, and look at it, it's flourishing. Amazing. So I'm so happy with the plant, so I need to put it in the backdrop today. But I quite like this backdrop. I've got my little, he's new, I've not named him yet. If you want to suggest a name, pop them below. Yes. But anyway, should we talk about some books? Because it's why you're here. You don't really care about this pumpkin teddy or my plant. So I'm going to start with the books that I read from my TBR game, which is a very well-known game, not because it's mine, I mean it's well-known on BookTube, and that's where my TBR jar chooses what I read for the month. So I do 4 picks of those. So I've read some and I've DNF'd one, I think, but we'll go through what I've read in my wrap-up now. I can't remember what prompt this was for. So it's going really well, first book, because the post-it note's fallen out of it. But I know that I was really excited to get to it because it was a new book I got for my birthday. It's When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker. I really enjoyed this book, so I saw a lot of hype about it on Instagram and Facebook when the hardback was being released. So I saw lots of photographs, people sharing how gorgeous the cover is, and they're not wrong because the cover is absolutely gorgeous. So in this book, we follow Rave. She is an assassin, a very good one. She's been doing it for a number of years. And one way or another, she ends up, I'm saying one way or another because I don't want to give any spoilers away. So these are spoiler-free wrap-ups, by the way. She ends up in prison. So she gets caught and we follow her journey. Will she make it out of prison? So in this book, there is a dragon rider, there's a love story, so it's definitely a romantic-y book. She meets a king, and all is not what it seems. So it seems like Rave has had this past life that she left behind to become assassin. We get to know more about her story and her past and why she's like the way she is today. This is part of the Moonfall series, and this is book 1. I will be continuing with this series, however, I did give this book 3 out of 5 stars, so I thought it was okay. That's kind of my average rating. It's the rating I give most of my books. It was a good read, I enjoyed it, but I probably won't remember it in a few years' time, and I'm not like, oh, I must read the next one now. But I did read it, I did enjoy it. It was a good book. I wanted more history about the dragons. I found the main character, one of the main characters, and the kind of love interest. I found it too cheesy, and I can do cheese. I love a love story, but this was something else. This was like making me angry because it felt so unrealistic. Maybe I'm just cynical. I don't think love happens like that. But yeah, he was making me annoyed, and I really like, so normally in like the kind of love interest, you really want to root for that main kind of love story. I didn't in this, and that's why I gave it 3 stars. I really thought the main character, Rave, I thought she was fantastic. Lots of character development there. I didn't get any character development from anyone else, unfortunately, but I did enjoy the world, and I'm excited to see where it goes. So I will read the next book of this when it comes out. The next book I had to read was The Jungle Book by Rudyard Kipling, and this was to fulfill the prompt colour wheel. So I got the colour amber, and this is the book we chose. Now, I picked up The Jungle Book from a charity shop because it was one of my favourite films when I was a child. So I don't know if, like me, when you was a kid, you would watch the same film on repeat. The Jungle Book was one of those films for me. I absolutely loved the elephants and the monkeys, so I used to watch it for those two. And 101 Dalmatians was the other film that I really enjoyed. So when I saw this in the charity shop, I picked it up, and I'll be honest with you, it sat on my shelf for a good few years not being read. I started this book and I really wasn't feeling it. I think it's because the nostalgia for me is probably around the film. So I got about 50 pages in, and you know when you feel like you're just forcing yourself to read something because you feel like you should read it? Because I love the film so much, I was like, I really should read the book. I just wasn't enjoying it. So I decided to DNF it. I did not finish it. I will be unhauling this and donating it to my local charity shop where I got it from, and hopefully it can find its forever home. So I'm not really going to review it because I feel it's unfair when you DNF a book, especially because there was nothing really wrong with it. It's just I'm gonna keep it as nostalgic, you know, around the film for me. For the prompt 5-star prediction, I had to read Yellowface. I say had to, I chose to read Yellowface by Rebecca F. Kwan. This book was unreal. 5 stars. I gobbled this book up. You know when you can tell everything's going wrong right from the start, and you kind of shout at the main character, why are you doing this? It's gonna go wrong, it's so gonna go wrong. Yeah, that's this book. I shouted at, you know, internally I shouted at the main character, what are you doing? Don't do it. In this book, we follow June Haywood, a kind of failed writer. She's not written a bestseller book yet, and her best friend has. A best friend, or let's use the term friend, because I think it's debatable whether they're good friends. So it's kind of her friend, but also her rival. They went to university together, and her rival is called Athena, and she's a very successful author. You know, all of her books are bestsellers, and she's been working on her next novel. Her publishers have got high hopes for it, and unfortunately, Athena passes away, and that happens right at the start of the book. So that's not a spoiler. I think it's even in the blurb. So June steals her manuscript. And she uses it to publish her next novel. Now I won't go into it too much because I don't want to give spoilers away, but the character, you know when you love a character but you shouldn't love a character, so and I'm trying to think of an example, or you like love to hate the character. That's what I did for June. I loved to hate her, but I also loved her because she did it. She stole the manuscript. And yes, it's about her journey then. You know, will that book be successful? If it's successful, what happens to her? The pressure of having to write another book based on the success of potentially this book. It spirals so fast. A lot happens in this book. I think I read it in 3 days because I couldn't stop reading it. I went to bed too late, got up far too early to finish this book before work, was tired for work because of this book, and my colleague at work saw that I was reading it and she was like, let me know what you think, I thought it was fantastic. There's a reason why people are hyping this up on the internet. It's because it's fantastic. It's my first read from Rebecca F. Kwan. I will definitely be reading more, and I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. For the prompt Gwen chooses, Gwen is my dog, and she's only in the video actually, but she's currently fast asleep on the sofa. I can't believe that she's not disturbed us yet. So normally she comes to say hello, but you're just missing out on Gwen today. So she got to choose my next read. That might sound odd. If you want to see her choose my read, I'll link the video up above. But I had to read, or chose to read, Beyond the Wand by Tom Felton. So Tom Felton, oh, the lighting's gone really dark in here. Sorry, I hope it's still okay. This is Tom's biography of him growing up on set of the Harry Potter films. He talks about the other actors and his relationships with his co-stars. He talks about the pressure or kind of a childhood in the limelight. There's some photographs and images of that time on the Harry Potter set, and it was just really lovely to dive back into the Harry Potter world but in a different way. We get to hear some stories from his time on set, and we get to know him a little bit more personally, kind of his interests, his relationships in life, his friendships. And I did find this, he was very lovely, beautifully written actually, which I was quite surprised about, so maybe judgmental going in. And that's because we only know him as Malco Drafoy. That's our impression of Tom Felton. So it was really nice to kind of get to know him a little bit more and his story around the films, and how he got into them and how it affected his life. I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars. I found it very interesting. Like I said, it brought back nostalgia of me growing up with the Harry Potter films. I didn't actually read the books until I was an adult. I was more of a film girl growing up rather than a bookish girl. That changed when I got to being an adult. It made me want to go back and rewatch Harry Potter, which I think I'm going to do. Or I might go and have a look at some of the illustrated editions of Harry Potter. If Tom Felton wrote another book, another biography, I would definitely pick it up because I really enjoyed this read. They were the prompts I got from my TBR jar. So I read another 2 books on top of the 4, which I kind of had to read to fulfill my prompts in my TBR game. So I get a book subscription in the post. This was my first one. So I get a book subscription via the Locked Library. I'll link them below if they're interested. This is not an advert or anything like that. And I'm just giving it a go. I do like a book subscription, and I tend to swap them around throughout the year. So I was getting graphic novels from Graphic Novel Station, and I've decided to pause them for a little bit. And I was kind of feeling a bit of romantasy. I'm really enjoying experiencing it and getting to know this genre. So romantasy, if you don't know, is romance and fantasy, where there's heavy romance in fantasy books. I'm really enjoying that kind of genre at the minute. So the book that I was sent for September was Hex and Hexability. So a witchy play on a very well-known romantic novel. Gorgeous sprayed edges. I will be honest, I wouldn't have personally purchased this book. It's not, even though I want to read romantasy, I don't love historical fiction. I'm not really into the stories about kind of princes, kings and queens, royal families, or kind of old mansions, like Downton Abbey, but it's not really me. So I was a bit sceptical going into this. I gave this 3 out of 5 stars, and it might be because I'm not the audience. I don't love those worlds. I did feel though that aside, I felt the character development could have been better. Like with When the Moon Hatched, I also felt that these characters didn't develop very much, particularly the male character. So we follow a pirate and a lady in this, and she helps the pirate to learn how to become a respectable gentleman. Already just saying that story gives me the ick a little bit. And I think that was a point in this. It was, we definitely had a stronger female character in this. I thought they could have done a bit more with her. And I was a bit disappointed in the ending as well. She is a witch. The main character is a witch in this. But we don't learn how the magic works, and I find that really frustrating. She can just do magic. She just gets taken under the wing by her aunt, and all of a sudden she's a witch and she could do magic. I wanted to know how has she practiced that, what skills. So when she's casting a spell, I don't know how it works. She just points a finger and a spell happens. I like a bit more explaining or a bit more fantasy world building around the magic rather than just accept it happens. So I struggled with this read. So I think it was just not potentially for me, and I would like to see a bit more character development. I felt like the plot could have been stronger, and so could the ending. The last book I read in September is We Are Fungi by Christine Nishiyama. This is a graphic novel I picked up when I went away for my birthday to the Forest of Dean. This was in a little book swap, and I chose it because I love mushrooms. Got my mushroom cushion in the background. I like foraging, I like learning about foraging, reading about foraging. Don't dare forage for mushrooms without someone taking me that knows what they're doing. But I do like kind of that world. I love books set in the forest and the woods. So when I saw this, I was like, this is coming home. It looks adorable. It is adorable. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Now, this is for children, so I'm not the audience, okay? So I didn't learn very much with this because it's teaching children about mushrooms. They're children. However, if I had a child, would I give this book to them? Would I read it to them and enjoy that process? 100%. Is it really informative and super cute? Yes, 100%. I'll show you some of the artwork. I mean, this is just me to a T. It's those autumn colours that I love. We're in the woods, learning about fungi. There's not a lot I can say about it other than we follow this little boy and his dog has her on a little adventure in the woods, and there's lots of fungi in it. It's super cute, so I would recommend this definitely for you and your child. If you've got a child in your life, it's a nice little gift for them. That was my September wrap up. It's the first time I've done a wrap up. I feel like I rambled through it a bit. Hopefully I get better as we develop on this channel together. I'd love to know what you read in September. Did you read any books that you would recommend based on what you think I might like? Please leave me a comment below. I'd love to hear from you. And have a super lovely day until I see you again next time.